Which of the Purusha avatar? Yes, Sonika?
Prabhuji, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu.
No, not from Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Yes, Ramya?
Krishna Prabhuji, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu.
Yeah, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vishnu. That which also expands as Paramatma. So many times we have discussed that. So he is emanating from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vishnu. But Krishna and Balram are not coming from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vishnu. Rather, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vishnu is a part of the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is clarifying this, that Lord Krishna is not an incarnation of the Purusha as we learned from the beginning of this chapter. He is directly the original personality of Godhead, and Balram is his first plenary manifestation of the Lord. From Baldev, the first phalanx of plenary expansion, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Anirudh and Pradyumna expands. Lord Shri Krishna is Vasudev and Baldev is Sankarshana. We discussed Buddha also. We have discussed Buddha. Long purport. So just catching up with what we discussed yesterday. Technically, Lord Buddha's philosophy is called atheistic because there is no acceptance of the Supreme Lord. And because that system of philosophy denied the authority of the Vedas. So how many incarnations are there? 22 is mentioned here. Yeah. 19th and 20th is Krishna, Balram and Krishna. Yeah. The 19th and the 20th. And 21st is Buddha. And 22nd will be Kalki. Okay, we were discussing the verse. And Maharaj Parikshit said that only the animal killer cannot relish the transcendental message of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, if people are to be educated in the path of Godhead, they must be taught first and foremost to stop the process of animal killing with bone senses mentioned above. So one of the regulation is, the first and the foremost regulation is no meat eating. That is the gross. And for development in the spiritual path, what is important? One must hear. Hearing is very essential. Without hearing, there is no possibility of awakening or progress in the spiritual path. It is nonsensical to say that animal killing has nothing to do with spiritual realization. By this dangerous theory, many so-called sannyasis have sprung up by the grace of Kali Yuga, who preach animal killing under the garb of the Vedas. The subject matter has already been discussed in conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Maulana Chand Qazi Sahib. Prabhupada's unique way of addressing Chand Qazi. See how he is addressing Chand Qazi. Maulana Chand Qazi Sahib. The animal sacrifice as stated in the Vedas is different from the unrestricted animal killing in the slaughterhouse. Because the asuras or the so-called scholar of Vedic literatures put forward the evidence. See Prabhupada's exceptional expertise. How Prabhupada is thrashing the Vedic scholars or so-called, speculators, mental speculators of Gyan Marg. See how Prabhupada is bashing them. Because the asuras or the so-called scholars of Vedic literature. So those who are demoniac, they misinterpret the Shastras. And Prabhupada is condemning them. Put forward the evidence of animal killing in the Vedas. Lord Buddha superficially denied the authority of the Vedas. This rejection of the Vedas by Lord Buddha was adopted in order to save people from the vice of animal killing, as well as to save the poor animals from the slaughtering process of their big brothers. Again, another unique way of Prabhupada of, his condemnation, the slaughtering process of their big brothers. So the animals are the poor and the helpless brothers and sisters of the human race who clamor for universal brotherhood, peace, justice, and equality. There is no justice where there is animal killing. Lord Buddha wanted to stop it completely, and therefore his cult of ahimsa was propagated not only in India but also outside the country. Technically, Lord Buddha's philosophy is called atheistic because there is no acceptance of the Supreme Lord, and because that system of philosophy denied the authority of the Vedas. But that is an act of camouflage. You know camouflage? Something which is ostensible. Externally, which means something else. Internally, it has nothing to do with the reality. Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Godhead. As such, he is the original propounder of Vedic knowledge. He therefore cannot reject Vedic philosophies. Please hear and attend to Prabhupada's argument. Prabhupada is saying, Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Godhead. As such, he is the original propounder of the Vedic knowledge. He therefore cannot reject Vedic philosophy. But he rejected it outwardly because the sura-dviṣām, or the demons who are always envious of the devotees of Godhead, try to support cow killing or animal killing from the pages of the Vedas. And this is now being done by the modernized sannyasis. Lord Buddha had to reject the authority of the Vedas altogether. This is simply technical. And had it not been so, he would not have been so accepted as the incarnation of Godhead. Nor would he have been worshipped in the transcendental song of the poet Jayadev, who is the Vaishnava-acharya. Lord Buddha preached the preliminary principles of the Vedas in a manner suitable for the time, and so also did Shankaracharya to establish the authorities of the Vedas. Therefore, both Lord Buddha and Acharya Shankara paved the path of theism, and Vaishnava-acharya, specifically Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, led the people on the path towards the realization of going back to Godhead. We are glad that people are taking interest in the non-violent movement of Lord Buddha. But will they take the matter very seriously and close the animal slaughterhouses altogether? If not, there is no meaning to the ahimsa cult. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam was composed just prior to the beginning of the age of Kali, about 5,000 years ago. And Lord Buddha appeared about 2600 years ago. Therefore, in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Lord Buddha is foretold. Such is the authority of this clear scripture. There are many such prophecies, and they are also being fulfilled one after another. They will indicate the positive standing of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is without any trace of mistake, illusion, cheating, and imperfections, which are the four flaws of the conditioned souls. Brahma, Pramad, Vipralipsa, and Karna Patva. These are the four faults that every conditioned human being has. He is sure to make mistake. His senses are imperfect. He is prone to illusion, and he has cheating propensity. Brahma, Pramad, Vipralipsa, and Karna Patva. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is transcendental. It is above all this. 1 second. हरे कृष्णा, मैं क्लास दे रहा हूँ, कोई बहुत जरूरी बात है, कौन बोल रहा है? विवेकानंद प्रभु जी कल की बाद में बात करना. There are many such prophecies. Okay, they will indicate the positive standing of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is without any trace of mistake. Okay, which are the four flaws of all conditioned souls. The liberated souls are above these flaws. So how can we distinguish who is mukta and who is baddha? So baddha will have all these four imperfections. He will commit mistake and he will try to cover his mistake, that is cheating. His senses are imperfect, and because of senses being imperfect, he will always be prone to illusion. He will take reality as false and falsity as real. The liberated souls are above all these flaws. Therefore, they can see and foretell things which are to take place on distant future dates. So all this is being foretold. Who is speaking to whom? What is this section that we are discussing? The third chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Who is foretelling this prediction? Quickly, you were there with us for so many months. You should be knowing who is speaking and who is hearing. Manoram Prabhu?
Prabhuji, speaker is Srila Sut Goswami.
Very good. And who is the hearer?
The assembled sages, they are hearing.
88,000 sages headed by Now, please don't speak in between. Yeah, but attention has to be there. Don't allow the mind, at least for this 1 hour. And I suggest don't just join. Try to break the cycle which has been absorbed us in various other activities during the day. Chant at least 1 round if possible, or chant some bhajan, trying to bring your consciousness back. Best is to read or to study what we have discussed in the previous class. At least spend 5 minutes. So the consciousness can connect to what is being spoken. Otherwise, it will be erased. Can you recite the verse? Yes, Swanubhava, Akhil Shruti Saramekam. Are you daily reciting? Otherwise, you'll forget it. It will come and go. I gave you the formula. When you are taking bath, when you are brushing, repeat it. Even when you are having prasad. That time is there. But our consciousness does not connect. The absorption in the self and our own imaginary dreams and plan is so heavy that we are again and again dragged into that. We are absorbed in that. So how to cut? Recite the verses. Repeat the verses. Just go through in your mind. Give this exercise. What are the sequence of incarnations we have discussed? Very powerful way of having shastric contemplation. We will not be able to go to the next level unless until contemplation builds up. Just by passive hearing, it will not work. That hearing has to stimulate our thought process. That is the purpose of hearing. So how the thought process will be stimulated? When there is memory in the thought of what we are hearing. Ganesh, can you recite the verse? Now you've got time. No? Our mind is very smart. If it gets 2 minute time, it is able to pick it up. Bolo? Even the first 3 verses, so many verses we memorized. If you're not repeating, you'll forget. Now there are some more verses to memorize. It will come in the next verses. Devashish? Bolo? बोलने के लिए बोला यार, बोलो जल्दी, टाइम बहुत थोड़ा सा है, ऑलरेडी लेट ज्वाइन किया हूं. I had gone out to meet some person for Bhagavad Gita contribution. नहीं आता तो बोलो मुझसे ना, आता है तो बोलो, नहीं आता है तो बोलो कि नहीं आता. क्या टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो?
तो याद नहीं आ रहा है.
हाँ, याद क्योंकि याद ये हाल है. याद करा दिया, उसके बाद भुला दिया, क्योंकि मेहनत नहीं की है. How the mind and the intelligence will be purified? Then that contamination is always again, bringing it back. किसको याद है? प्रणव?
Third, yasanubhavam akhila-shruti-saramekam adhatma-deepam atiti-tirthitam tamo-andham samsarinam karunyah purana-guhyam tam vyasa-sunam upayami gurum-muninam.
Very good. Very good. So please, we have to make an effort. And this effort is internal. It is not external show. How internal will change if you are not making an effort internally? If you are not embracing. Yesterday I said, first level acceptance has to be there. How much is the acceptance? The acceptance is still outwardly, externally. It has not become internally. If the acceptance is, if it is acceptance is internally, then you can never forget. Did you ever forget the taste that you liked when you had prasad on New Year or some special occasion? That you don't forget. How can you forget these verses? That means it has not gone in. It has not entered into our internal connectivity is not there. So please revise. Keep making effort. How many of you have made a shloka book of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Anyone? Any such sincere soul? Make a copy. The various verses that we are memorizing or reciting, the verse that is giving you inspiration, write it down in your, that is an asset. You have a passbook or not? Whatever deposit you make, do you have an entry? If you make a deposit and the bank people do not give you an entry of that in your passbook, what you will do? You will leave it. You will go and tell your banker, you will, force him to make that entry. Well, this is your deposit. And what about this deposit, this spiritual deposit? No value of the spiritual deposit. It will not be deposited. It will not enter. Just by joining on the Zoom, good, very good. There will be very rare those who will join. 99.9% will not join. They are busy in ahar, nidra and defending. They will never find time. But if you are finding time, so please internalize it. Don't leave it. Make a shloka book, your copy, and those verses that we are doing, please pen it. And after the shloka, if you have some inspiration, please write it. And please revise it. Keep revising it. This is how we will change the subtle body. The thinking, feeling, and willing will change only if you make a sincere effort, a strenuous effort has to be made. Okay, we'll go forward. So this imperfection has to be removed of mistake, illusion, cheating, and imperfection, because these senses are impure. These senses are imperfect. athāsau yuga-sandhyāyāṁ dasyu-prāyeṣu rājasu janitā viṣṇu-yaśaso nāmnā kalkir jagat-patiḥ athāsau yuga-sandhyāyāṁ. Very beautiful. Atha is thereafter. Aso is the same Lord. So please understand, it is all being spoken about the various incarnations. So the same Lord who is appearing, and what time he will appear? Yuga-sandhyāyāṁ. The sandhya means the one yuga is getting over and the other is beginning. The conjunction of the yuga. Which two yugas? Yuga-sandhya. Yes, Ramya.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, between Kali Yuga and Satya Yuga.
Very good. Very good. Precise answer. Between Kali Yuga, the end of Kali Yuga, and before the beginning of Satya Yuga. dasyu-prāyeṣu rājasu. Dasyu means all those who are plunderers, rows. So everyone will become a thief and a row by the end of Kali Yuga. We saw that verse 1:10. What was the verse? Kalo asmin yuge jana. Yeah. Yes, Sonika.
Prayena alpayusa.
Prayena alpayu. Prāyeṣu. The same thing. Prayena is a prāyeṣu. Almost everyone. And who will become the plunderers and thief? Even Rajasu. Even the governing personalities. So janitā viṣṇu-yaśaso. So at that time, the Supreme Lord will take birth. And what will be his name? His name will be Viṣṇu. And he will be appearing in the nāmnā kalkir jagat-patiḥ. Thereafter, at the conjunction of the two yugas, the Lord of the creation. Who is the Lord of the creation? Who is the Lord of the creation? You should not just read, you should try to understand also. Yes, boliye. Ramya?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Mahavishnu.
Yes, Mahavishnu. Very good. Don't get confused. The avatāras will descend from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vishnu. But how the creation begins is by the glance of Mahavishnu. Very good. Our conception is clear. She does not have any trace of doubt or ambiguity. The Lord of the creation will take his birth, but he will not appear directly from Mahavishnu. The process will remain the same. He will appear from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vishnu. But he is the same person, the same personality. The Lord of the creation will take his birth as the kalkir incarnation and become the son of viṣṇu-yaśaso. Okay, viṣṇu-yaśaso is the name of the father. At this time, almost all the rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers. So we discussed that in another incarnation. When the administrative class becomes the plunderers, then what happens? What happened? What was the result? Yes, Sonika?
Prabhuji, Lord appeared as in the form of Bhrigupati and he removed all the
He killed
Kshatriyas
everyone.
21 times.
21 times. So here what will happen? Here is the other foretelling concerning the advent of Lord Kalki, the incarnation of Godhead. He is to appear at the conjunction of the two yugas, namely at the end of Kali Yuga and the beginning of Satya Yuga. The cycle of the four yugas, namely Satya, Treta, Dwapara and Kalki, rotates like the calendar months. The present Kali Yuga lasts 432,000 years, out of which we have passed only 5,000 years after the battle of Kurukshetra and the end of the regime of King Parikshit. So there are 427,000 years balanced yet to be finished. Therefore, at the end of this period, the incarnation of Kalki will take place as foretold in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Many, bogus people claim that they have already appeared as Kalki. How can they appear? When Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is clearly saying that Kalki will appear at the end. Therefore, at the end of this period, the incarnation of Kalki will take place as foretold in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The name of his father, viṣṇu-yaśaso, a learned Brahmana, and the village Sambhala are also mentioned. Village Sambhala. Don't know, we have to do research. Where is this village Sambhala? Or maybe in next 400,000 years, which village will be called Sambhal, we don't know. The village which is called now Sambhal may not necessarily be Sambhal after 400,000 years. As mentioned, all this foretelling will prove to be factual in chronological order. This is the authority of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. avatārā hi asaṅkhyeyā harau sattva-nidher dvijāḥ yathāvidāsinaḥ kulyāḥ sarasaḥ sahasraṣaḥ. O Brahmanas, the incarnation of the Lord are innumerable. So 22 incarnations, okay? 19 and 20 were Balaram and Krishna. 21st was, what was the 21st? Ganesh, what was the 21st? You can hear me? Unmute and speak. Ganesh Prabhu, I am asking.
Lord Buddha.
You should not speak, Prabhu. I am asking Ganesh, why is your name Ganesh?
Oh, yeah, I couldn't.
Lord Buddha, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Buddha. Buddha, and the 22nd is Kalkir. So 22 incarnations are mentioned, but they are not the complete list. So here it is being mentioned by Srila Sutta Goswami that the incarnations of the Lord are innumerables, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. Or it is said like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said the incarnations are as innumerable as the waves appearing in the ocean. Can anyone count how many waves appear in the ocean? Uncountable. The list of incarnations of the personality of Godhead given herein is not complete. Prabhupada is clarifying this. It is only a partial view of all the incarnations. There are many others such as Sri Hayagriva, Hari, Hamsa, Prishina Garbha, Vibhu, Satyasen, Vaikuntha, Sarvabhauma, Vishwakshena, Dharma Setu, Sudama, Yogeshwara, Brihad Bhanu, and others of the bygone ages. Sri Prahlad Maharaj said in his prayers, my Lord, you manifest as many incarnations as there are species of life, namely the aquatics, the vegetables, the reptiles, the birds, the beasts, the men, the demigods, etc., just for the maintenance of the faithful and the annihilation of the unfaithful. You advent yourself in this way in accordance with the necessity of the different yugas. So we have discussed so many times, the Lord appears in a very special form for a very specific function. So he can take any form. In the Kali Yuga, you have incarnated garbed as a devotee. This incarnation of the Lord in the Kali Yuga is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many other places, both in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and in other scriptures, in which the incarnation of the Lord as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explicitly mentioned. In the Brahma Samhita also it is said indirectly. And although there are many incarnations of the Lord such as Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, Matsya, Kurma and many others, the Lord himself sometimes incarnates in person. Please very attentively hear, it's a very deep purport. Prabhupada is saying here that besides all these incarnations, the Lord himself sometimes incarnates in person. What does it mean? That the Lord sometimes incarnate in person. Who can explain? That the Lord sometimes incarnate in person. पुरुषोत्तम प्रभु, इसका क्या अर्थ है कि भगवान कई बार मनुष्य के रूप में आते हैं?
तो भगवान जीव के रूप में अवतार लेते हैं।
तो फिर जीव तत्व और भगवान तत्व में फिर फर्क कहाँ रह गया? यही समझना है, जीव तत्व नहीं है वो। भगवान ने क्या कहा? अब जानन्ति मां मूढ़ा मानुषीं तनुम आश्रिता परम भावम अजानन्तो मम भूता महेश्वरम। 9वां अध्याय और 11वां श्लोक। बिल्डर हो गए? फिलॉसफी ठीक से मिलेगी नहीं, समझ में नहीं आएगा क्या चल रहा है। कौन बताएगा? देवदत्त, हरे कृष्णा, वेलकम बैक।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी,
यू केम
दंडवत
आफ्टर।
प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा, बोलो, व्हाट डज इट मीन?
Prabhuji, here he is meaning that sometimes not the expansion in not any expansion of Lord, rather he himself is coming. Means he is not expanding himself, rather he is coming. Himself is
You are giving
coming as incarnation.
no, no. It is like in the form of human. What does it means? Maybe we are not hearing. We will. It is impossible to understand Shastra. देवर्षि आप बताओ, भागवतम आपके हाथ में है ना? दिखाओ मुझे, दिखाओ, ऊपर करो। हाँ, ठीक है। तो आपने पढ़ा, क्या लिखा है हिंदी में, क्या लिखा है, सेंटेंस क्या है आपके पास? हिंदी है, इंग्लिश है?
और दोनों ही है।
दोनों ही है, ठीक है। हिंदी में क्या लिखा है? बोलिए प्रभु। Even to assimilate Prabhupada's purport not easy. अरे वो हिंदी पढ़िए ना, क्या लिखा है उसके अनुवाद में जो अभी हमने पढ़ा, क्या सेंटेंस है? टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो खाली। हिंदी नहीं पढ़ने में आ रहा क्या? बताइए, आपके हाथ में पुस्तक है, सुन रहे हैं आप, पढ़ नहीं पा रहे हैं। बोलिए सोनिका, वो तो लॉस्ट।
प्रभु जी मेरे पास भी हिंदी की है, मैं वो लाइन पढ़ूं?
हाँ पढ़िए।
अ, इसमें लिखा है, ब्रह्म संहिता में भी परोक्ष रूप से कहा गया है कि यद्यपि श्री भगवान के अनेक अवतार हुए, यथा श्री राम, नृसिंह, वराह, मत्स्य, कूर्म इत्यादि, लेकिन कभी कभी श्री भगवान स्वयं भी अवतरित होते हैं।
अच्छा, व्हाट इट मीन्स आप बताइए।
अ, प्रभु जी इसका मतलब ये एक प्रभु जी इसमें जैसे बताया गया है कि ये सारे अवतार जिनके नाम प्रभुपाद जी ने मेंशन किए हैं, वो सारे भगवान के एक्सपेंशंस हैं, लेकिन भगवान स्वयं भी आते हैं, जैसे कृष्णा रूप में और श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु के रूप में वो स्वयं भी आए थे।
यस, तो इन जितनी लिस्ट में दिया गया है कि वो अवतार के रूप में आए हैं, लेकिन स्वयं भगवान भी आते हैं। हाँ, और वो क्या है? वो अवतार नहीं है, जबकि इस लिस्ट में उनका नाम है, लेकिन तब भी वो क्या है? वो अवतार नहीं है। वो क्या है? वो अवतारी है। ही इज द सोर्स ऑफ ऑल दिस इनकारनेशन। दिस इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस टू अंडरस्टैंड। दिस इज अचिंत्य भेदा भेद तत्व। इट इज अचिंत्य। ओके, विल गो अहेड। पढ़िए, जस्ट कंप्लीट द सेंटेंस जो लास्ट का बचा हुआ है। Lord Krishna and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are not there for incarnations, but are the original source of all incarnation. This will be clearly explained in the next slokas. So the Lord is the inexhaustible source for innumerable incarnations, which are not always mentioned. But such incarnations are distinguished by specific ordinary feasts, which are impossible to be performed by any living being. This is the general test to identify an incarnation of the Lord, directly and indirectly empowered. Some incarnations mentioned above are almost plenary portions. For instance, the Kumaras are empowered with transcendental knowledge. Which Shakti is this? This is Shakti Avesh Avatar. The Kumaras, they have the Jnana Shakti. Sri Narad is empowered with devotional service, Bhakti Shakti. Maharaj Prithu is empowered incarnation with executive function. It's called the Palana Shakti. The Matsya incarnation is directly a plenary portion. So the innumerable incarnations of the Lord are manifested all over the universes constantly without cessation, as water constantly flows from waterfalls. So I'll stop here and we will continue tomorrow from 27th verse. Any question or any contribution? Bole. Yes, Manoram Prabhu.
Prabhuji, in some of the previous verses, we have seen that here was the discussion that whenever there is no suitable demigod post, the Supreme Lord, he takes the role of demigods. So in that case, Prabhuji, the potency is the same as demigod or like Supreme Lord when he takes the role of a demigod?
When the Supreme Lord incarnates, as we know, there are 6 types of incarnations. We have seen that in Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada sambhavami yuge yuge. Sambhavami means he descends. So that is an avatar, when he comes down from the spiritual world. And Prabhupada discusses amongst the various avatars, there are principally 6 types of avatars. Yeah. The first one is the Purusha avatar. Purusha avatar is for what function? For material creation and material maintenance, the creation and maintenance of this material universe. Then there are yuga avatars. In every yuga there is a avatar. Then there is guna avatar. Then there is lila avatar. Yeah. Then there are manvantar avatars. So in this way, and there is also Shakti Avesh avatar. Shakti Avesh is given. He is empowered, like we read. So when the Supreme Lord descends as Indra, he does not exhibit his all powers. He exhibited only, that is what I said. So every appearance is, the specific form is to perform a specific function. If he takes the post, sometimes he takes the post of Indra also. Sometimes he takes the position of Brahma also. He does not exhibit his full potency there or his full opulence there. Only for that specific function it is there. That is why, if you will see, in one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada says, the most confidential knowledge, the very, very confidential thing Srila Prabhupada has written. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I found it. It opened. You opened 18.65. You will be completely dumbfolded what Srila Prabhupada is writing. 18.65, the final para of the purport. Quickly, Manoram Prabhu. Time is already over. We are running over time. $18.65. Come down. Yeah, this is very famous word. This Many acharyas have explained that this is the most confidential knowledge. But man always think of me. Man mana bhav, mad bhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskaru. And we found a sequel to this verse when we were discussing the 5th chapter. Anyone remembers the 5th chapter verse? The same 4 things. What Krishna is speaking here. How that can be developed? Man mana bhav, mad bhakto, madhyaji, mam namaskaru. What is to be done? We discussed in the 5th chapter, very recently discussed in the last class. Yes, there, Shilbro.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, one whose mind, intelligence, faith, and refugee are all
Refuge.
in Lord
It
Krishna.
is not refugee, it is refuge. Refuge means
Sorry,
one who
refuge.
is shelter.
Ji. If one mind, intelligence, then faith and
Got the sequence
refuge.
right. It is tad buddhi tad atmanas tad nishtha tan parayana. Then man mana bhav mad bhakto can happen. Otherwise it will never happen. Okay, anyway, let's come to this word. This verse. Read, who will read? You read, Manoram Prabhu. Read very clearly. These words stress the last paragraph.
These words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna, the very form with 2 hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with a beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. There are descriptions of Krishna found in the Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on this original form of Godhead, Krishna. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi-forms as Vishnu, Narayan, Ram, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitute the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna's.
Okay, thank you. This is the most confidential knowledge. I don't know how many of you are able to accept, appreciate, and understand. Read it few times. Thank you very much. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.